Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of TBR. And I'm George Benz. And this evening we are introducing the new Superintendent of Schools, Peter John Cushing.
Hello, George.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So you've been on the job for all of 30 days now, right?
That's accurate, yes.
That's it. So what do you think of the city so far?
A little background about myself is, George, I was actually the finalist to be the high school principal here about 10 years ago. And fell in love with Beverly then. I'm a child of the North Shore. Yeah. I grew up in Lynn, went to elementary school at St. Pius V, then on to high school in Danvers and college at St. Anselm and master's and doctorate at Boston College, both separated by about 10 years. Yeah. But I've always been someone who's really passionate about the North Shore, what the North Shore has to offer. The sense of community, the sense of togetherness, and the sense of the opportunity to build something great. I spent my time as a teacher in both the Lynn and the Arlington schools. And from there, I was fortunate enough to become an assistant principal at the young age of 30 back in 2008, which I can't believe. I mean, I just can't believe it was that long ago. And worked my way up a few years after I'd been the assistant principal. One day, the superintendent walked down the hall, Dr. Weiss, and she said, you know, we've moved on from our middle school principal. I want you to take it over. And so despite having only worked one day in middle school before that at Fecht O'Leary Middle School in Lynn. Yeah. After a few weeks of wrangling with that decision, because going from high school to middle school to me was a big decision at that time, I moved on to Narragansett Middle School, grades 5 through 8. So very similar in some regards to Beverly Middle School. And just in a few short years, partnering with our staff, really collaborating, working together, make it through some really thick times and some really thin times. We became one of only 2 level 1 schools in all of Worcester County.
What's the significance of level 1?
So the old ranking system in the state used to be levels 1 through 5. We were on the cusp of level 3, so it's not where any school really wants to be. Yeah. But we were able to partner and work together as a staff, come together as a community, and really focus on the things we were doing well and the things that needed to be improved. And we worked together to really tweak those things. I like to call it refine the mixture and get the engine firing really well. Yeah. And we became a regional powerhouse for a small rural school out along Route 2. Yeah. And then after that, I went down to Webster, was a high school principal for a year at Bartlett High School, helped lead their start of their turnaround project because they were in the bottom 6% of the state. Yeah. And then got the call to go up to Medford. I spent the last 6 years with the Medford Public Schools as the assistant superintendent, focused initially on secondary education, but then we had some shifts during my time there, and shifted to focus on career technical education, health wellness, technology instruction, then operations, enrichment, and innovation for the district. Yeah. Lots of capital planning, lots of capital work, and just so excited for this opportunity. I'm so grateful to the school committee. I'm so grateful to the members of the community that I've already had a chance to meet with. I'm really excited to meet with everybody as we start building a better Beverly Public Schools.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that you've had some minor exposure to the city so far. Yep. And we had a discussion a week or so ago. You mentioned that you think your biggest challenge right now is healing. What do you think the problem is or the injury is that needs to be worked on? How would you define it?
I think really looking back, everybody knows that the Beverly Public Schools went through the longest strike in state history. And so coming back from that, making sure that our staff and our school leaders really feel supported, making sure that we can have honest conversations and that we can work together and that people are listened to, and that when we act as leaders, we give them the reasons why we are doing things and the reasons why we aren't doing things. That constituents, be it teachers, parents, members of the city who don't have children in the district, our students, that we're offering an opportunity for people to have a voice. Now, that voice is really critical and really important, but when we may not go with what somebody suggests, that we provide them the reason why. Yeah. We help involve them in the process of making our schools better. And so I think the injury is, all right, the pain and suffering that comes out of a strike, the pain and suffering of students missing out on education, the pain and suffering of going to school on Saturdays or through a vacation, whatever it may be, that we're sitting down, we're having collegial conversations, we're working together, and we're really just trying to make sure that at the end of the day, how are we best impacting students of Beverly? How are we best impacting those students who are coming to us for their education, their athletics, their social emotional welfare, and everything else, their fine arts? I mean, I already talked to some fine arts teachers, and wow, am I impressed already hearing about their programs. So those types of things.
Why, what impressed you about them?
Just the fact that we have a chorus, choral chorus. If I got that wrong, I apologize. But the fact that we have an opportunity for students who may not be instrumentally inclined but still want to be able to sing, that we have an instructor for that. I mean, that's so enriching and so empowering. The fact that we have such a strong middle school program with our middle school teachers, being able to provide instruments and being able to really support students as they grow as musicians from hopefully our youngest grades. I know there's some challenges, but making sure that our students really have those opportunities. And then hearing about the number of students in our marching band, that should be a real sense of Panther pride for the city of Beverly. The band should be the power and pride of the city, to echo through the streets, and be it Herd Stadium or here. Just such a great opportunity for our kids.
So as this develops, one of the concerns that I have is, have we really recovered from COVID yet? Because that really screwed up the system as far as I can see. Yeah, you're working from home, no, you're not working from home. One of the things I think that came out of it was a lot of the students are using more and more laptops. I don't know, have we got to the point where every student's got a laptop now?
We are we are one-to-one device in the district, yes.
Okay, we're one-to-one. And there's a lot of emphasis on AI lately. Is this something that's in your plan to enhance the education on that kind of a personal basis?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about technology just for a second.
Yeah.
There's no technology out there that can supplant good teaching, all right? The power of teachers in the classroom, technology really can't do much against them. I think there's a lot of concerns around artificial intelligence, the predictive AI that is out there right now, and how is that going to impact our students? The thought of a lot of professionals at my level and at the principal level is that the better we train our students, the better we work with our students, the better able we are to support them to use artificial intelligence properly, not just as a crutch, will help them be better positioned for the world ahead. I think one-to-one devices are extremely important for our children. One thing as I enter the district that I'm going to ask parents to do is I'm going to actually ask parents to take into the wait until 8th pledge, which is where parents would wait until 8th grade or beyond to give their child their own personal device, their own personal cell phone. Those supercomputers in our pockets have had deleterious effects to our youth. They're not the only thing that has caused the social emotional crisis coming out of COVID, but they are definitely a substantial part of it. Yeah, the fact that we give these devices, all right, that can give unfettered access to the World Wide Web and many other social media sites that our students are just not ready for. They're not socially, emotionally developed. So we're worried about their social, emotional health and welfare. And sometimes I see it with my own children. 7, 8, 9-year-olds have devices. And, I'm going to ask parents to really be thoughtful about when those devices are deployed, because as a school leader who's been in this for 17 years, any benefit that those devices provide, those personal cell phones, is significantly outweighed by the negative effects that I've seen countless times.
Well, it looks like the state is going to put a ban in on cell phones in school. So that's part way there.
And I guess I agree, it's part way. And let's say that we were looking at drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
All right. Would we put a part way ban and say, no, we don't want kids doing that in school,
Yeah.
but outside it's okay?
Yeah.
I really think the state should be looking not just at another unfunded mandate that's going to be placed on schools that may cause a disruption and cause more headaches for school leaders and teachers
Yeah.
when we're trying to
How do you
educate our
enforce
students.
it is the challenge.
Correct. And I understand parents want to be in touch with their kids. That's a real and authentic challenge that somehow we have to overcome. But again, the deleterious effects, the negative effects on
I
our
don't think of
kids.
it as overcoming as much as managing it. And that's, I think, where the rubber hits the road. That, you'd like to simply say, okay, put your cell phone in a box when you walk in the front door, pick it up on your way out. Okay, that's...
Oh, there's actually a business now called Yonder, Y-O-N-D-R,
Oh, yeah.
selling to schools pouches that kids lock their pouches in, and then similar to at TJ Maxx, when they take the security device off your clothes as you purchase them, at the end of the day, there's someone there to help you take your device out of your bag.
Yeah. So I think there are ways to get around this thing, but integrating AI, I think, is a worthwhile challenge. One of the things that has bothered me is reading about what this does to the classroom teacher, in that students are going to use AI. You give them an assignment. Back in my day, we used to go to the library and get out the Encyclopedia Britannica. And that was our resource. And that was the accepted way to do things. Nowadays, you start with AI, go Google something, or go to a chatbot and say, give me an idea of what I can write about. And I think the challenge is to modify the educational program to one of, okay, you got this thing off Google. Now, how do you put your own personal twist on this thing? What did you learn about this? So it got to be, in some places, there's got to be a problem where the teachers would develop a program to go read the output of the student and tell me whether it's a chatbot or it's something original. And, okay, not original, we don't accept it. And I think that type of cut it off, don't allow it, is too archaic. In this day and age, it's there. They got to use it. It's the technique that you have to develop.
Yep. And from my understanding, and again, only 31 days on the job, but I've had the opportunity to meet with a lot of teachers, a lot of members of the city leadership, members of the union leadership for the teachers. One of the things I've learned that I need to do more investigating on is that Beverly had a committee of teachers and other educators focused on artificial intelligence. So what I'd really like to do is I'd like to meet with those members or see their reports or see where that work is to be able to help carry it forward and make sure that it's really that work is being implemented with fidelity. I think also too, getting back to what you said about how teachers are using it and how students are using it is one of our most critical jobs. Goes back to that word I just said, critical. Making sure our students are critical thinkers. Making sure that they can discern, all right, what is good information and what is bad information.
Yeah.
What is good news and what is not so good news.
Yeah.
All right. What are things that are inauthentic? So if you can tell, I'm trying to specifically avoid the term fake news.
Yes.
But what I really want is, I want students who are going to be critical thinkers.
Yep.
I want students who are going to be engaged with their curriculum, who are going to be engaged with their teachers, with educators, be they paraprofessionals, coaches, classroom teachers, global applications teachers at our middle school, whatever it may be, that they find those people who help ignite their passions
Yep.
and that help them become critical thinkers in a significantly complex world. Yeah, I mean, George, you know as well as I do that somebody with the right computer skills would be able to take what we're saying right now and create imagery and voice technology, and we could say things that we've never actually said.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we also need to make sure that we're raising ethical children.
Yeah.
All right. Who are focused on doing. You can do things right, or you can do right things.
Yeah.
I want people who are going to do right things.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the education process, is to develop a sense of morality, if you will, which is to what's the right thing to do, what's not right. And we get into some of these issues about everything's woke these days. And one of the things that always bothers me is that I grew up in Providence, Rhode Island, and the city was either Irish or Italian, and all the jokes were Irish or Italian. And I moved to Chicago for a while, and it was all the same jokes, but now they're all Polish jokes. So that this day and age, you can't do that no more. It's not acceptable. And yet, that was a characteristic of a certain time. And it wasn't terribly upsetting. It all depends how you say it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I think this is like one of those lessons you have to learn in school, that when somebody says something, what do they really mean by that?
I think it's also a time to really help educate youth who may say something that's inappropriate or insensitive to their peers.
Yeah.
That we want to really help those students to make sure that they aren't doing behavior that may be considered bullying. I think back to, and I hear what you're saying about the way things were.
Yeah.
But I also know of students like Phoebe Prince from South Hadley and others who have taken their lives or committed self-harm.
Yeah.
And so while those things, may have been okay in the past, I want to make sure that our students, especially our students of minority or BIPOC or transgender or however it may be,
Yeah.
that those students literally feel that the Beverly Public Schools shields them and hugs them and make sure that they are a critical and important part of our community for who we want to become. It's really fundamentally critical to me that our students feel loved and welcome as they come in these doors, not just from their teachers, but from their fellow peers.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to really build. And as someone of Irish, Italian, and Polish heritage,
Yeah.
I was named after my grandfather, actually. So Peter means rock in Greek.
Yeah.
We're not Greek, but my mother named me after my grandfather, Rocco.
Okay.
Actually worked at the GE for a long time as a buyer.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, too, that mostly in the Northeast, everybody's worried about what your ancestors used to be, kind of thing. And I moved into the South when I went into the Army and got to know some of the Southern guys. And nobody has any ancestry that they know of. You're either redneck or you're not a redneck, or you're black or white, and it's very, very cut and dried.
Yep.
It's a different kind of world. And I think that's one of the challenges of growing up is, even though this is a huge country and we're supposedly a melting pot, there are significant differences around the country.
There are, but what I think is really important is that we really help our students recognize those differences.
Yeah.
And bringing it back to Beverly, recognize the differences that we have and coming together, having community conversations,
Yeah.
having days of dialogue where we bring members of our community together, teachers, caregivers, parents, people in the community who are not caregivers or are no longer caregivers, people in our community who are business owners, landowners, whatever it may be. I want to make sure that the Beverly Public Schools, all right, becomes a place where we can have that dialogue to really help us move forward. You know, I think about ancestry too. I think about the moment in my family's life that might have been that seismic change when my grandfather, a child of Italian immigrants. My mother disagrees with me, but I think the story has faded a little bit. From what I remember, my Uncle Vito forged his signature for his parents on my grandfather's permission slip so that he could play football at Lynn English. All right, my mother disagrees with that.
Yeah.
But what I'll say is, I will definitely say this, that my grandfather playing on the fields of Lynn English, all right, he was seen and given a scholarship to go play at St. John's in Danvers for a two-year postgraduate scholarship. And then he got picked up on a scholarship to go play at St. Anselm College up in Manchester, New Hampshire. So that moment in time changed the trajectory of our entire family. Instead of my son of Italian immigrants, grandfather going to work at a factory or on the docks or whatever it may be. Maybe it was Cushman's Bakery, all right? Heard their brownies were great, but it was gone by the time I was old enough to enjoy them. You know, looking back at our academic ancestry and how can we help our students make generational change with the quality of the education we're going to provide them.
And that's part of the game is, got into this with the Army one time, but basically one of the main reasons to go to school is to learn how to learn.
Yep.
And I think this is a message that doesn't get spread around enough, that what they told us when I was graduated from engineering school is that in 5 years, half of what you learned is going to be obsolete. And in this day and age, I don't think it lasts 5 years. And things are changing so fast that learning how to learn is part of the process, that if you don't pick it up and you walk out the door saying, oh, I got a diploma, I'm good forever. Not really. You're going to be in for some surprises in a very short order. So I think this is part of this scenario that has to be brought forward, that education is an ongoing process for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
And
our you know, I wanted to say our job, but my faith-based heritage of Catholicism is really focused around vocation. Our vocation as educators is to do exactly what you're saying, to instill a life of learning. Now, not everybody may go on for a bachelor's degree or an associate's or a doctorate or a master's. They may not do that. But that whatever they're doing, if they're going to be a hairdresser, that they're open to constantly learning. All right? Or when they have children, that they're open to learning the best way to read stories to their kids and to help build their literacy as they grow. And so that's one of our vocations, one of our callings. And I know that from talking to so many teachers already, the teachers of this district are so passionately invested in our kids and making sure that this district does so well, as is our school committee. I was so impressed. I watched 18 months of school committee meetings, all right, and a little bit truncated 1.2, 1.5 speed. And so I see the passion in this city. I see the drive for us to become the flagship district of this state. And if you're the flagship of Massachusetts, let's be honest, you're the flagship of the country.
That's the challenge. And I think there's a lot going on trying to continuously improve the system. And Beverly is no different. And I keep going back to the deterioration in performance as a result of the COVID, and turning the system around to get back in the swing of things again. And you look at some of the ratings for Beverly and the rest of the state, and things have been slipping. And there was an article in today's Globe editorial about Beverly is not doing well on reading. and they're pushing this science-based reading again. And to introduce that into the system, if it's not there already or it's partially introduced, that's a real challenge for the administration, because it's a whole new process, and trying to find a plan that you can just pick up and hand to a teacher and say, hey, this is the new game in town, they don't hardly exist here yet. So there's a lot of emphasis on, well, you got to move to the latest and greatest, whether it's AI or science-based reading or any of these subjects.
Well, actually, what I would say is the science of reading is not the latest and greatest. It's actually a return to what worked, and a more of a focus on cleaning out the noise around what we were doing in education.
Yeah.
And so there was a period where there was a lot of choice for students, but not a lot of direction. And so the science of reading is really focused on making sure that we're delivering high quality instruction for our kids in reading. Now, George, what I will say is we're never going to just hand to a teacher, here you go, here's the new thing.
Yeah.
What is critical is making sure that we have the professional development, high quality professional development, that supports and scaffolds our educators.
Yep.
So that they don't have, and all the teachers out there know what I'm talking about with this one, the Sunday scaries, all right? That on a Sunday night, that they're getting nervous and panicked about the week ahead. And I don't want that for my staff. I don't want that for our educators. I want our educators going to bed on a Sunday night thrilled and excited to see those kids from 2.9 to 22, whoever they have, rolling through our doors.
Yeah.
And when we provide, and I'm sure Beverly has done this, so there's no statement on the past, when we provide great professional development for our teachers, great coaching, we get great wins in the field of education.
Yep.
We can be the Bill Belichicks of education.
Great. And we've had a half hour of fun.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And thank you very much for stopping
George,
by. And
thank you.
We'll have to do this again, because there's a heck of a lot more to explore. And
Absolutely.
in another month or so, once you've got a little more experience with the system and can get down to a little more specifics, I think it's a great plan to start with, and I'd like to know how you're going to implement it.
Absolutely.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching us this evening. And if you have any comments, my email address is in the credits. Send me a note. And if you've got a longer statement, there's room for you here at the table. And thanks again for joining us, and stay tuned. We'll be back.